We now also have the scenario where we have an agricultural sector with the world's largest arable land for farming, but also a sector that is underproducing. We have the lowest productivity per hectare in our continent. We have an aging smallholder farmer population who currently account for 60% of the food on our table. So here we are with a sector that could create jobs and transform the continent and improve our GDP. However, the future workforce for that sector is unwilling to go into the sector simply because the sector itself is not attractive and is not considered to be a career for the future. And this for us in Heifer, we saw these two challenges as the dynamics that if brought together effectively and leveraged through technology can actually become an opportunity. And that is the reason why we embarked on the research that we had done recently across 11 countries in the continent, so that we can begin to understand from the ground up the challenges hindering the youth from embracing agriculture as a future career and the problems hindering smallholder farmers from being able to reach the fullness of their potential. One of the things that we learned from that report is the impact of COVID. You see, COVID has helped us to not learn something we did not know before, but has really brought it more to light. And that is the fact that our smallholder farmers and even the youth in Africa are really separated by the digital divide. So as the world went into isolation, smallholder farmers and the markets that they work with had no means of staying connected. So the rest of the world was able to get online, sit on Zoom calls, go back to business as usual, leveraging technology. Smallholder farmers and the communities where they live and work do not have those privileges because they are living in low infrastructure environments. And this, of course, meant that the impact of COVID on their businesses was really severe. The report revealed that only 23% of the youth working within this space had access to relevant technology to work with. This means that there is so much that needs to be done for Africa to leapfrog, leveraging technology platforms that will keep farmers connected and enabling them to continue business and to continue to interact with the rest of the world is extremely important. And that is one of the things that this report also showed. The need also to make the sector more technology enabled so that the young people who are passionate about wanting to work in agriculture can also be able to bring in their tech passion into the sector and solve the problems that are needed across the sector to make smallholder farmers remain connected to the markets that they serve. This technology must be compatible with the smallholder farmers' challenges, with their level of education, with the price point that the smallholder farmer is able to afford to ensure that it's a sustainable solution and not a solution that is not sustainable or not suitable for that environment where these farmers live and work. There is a lot of opportunity for young Africans to become the solution to the problems and challenges that we face, ensuring that their voice is strong at the policy table, creating the right kind of policy environment for them to have access to land, for them to also have financing that supports their startup ideas, meeting them exactly where they are at, and tailored to suit the uniqueness of their business startup situation is critical for success. To drive this transformation, the report has clearly shown that the youth are passionate, willing to leave the urban areas to come back to the rural areas, or require the support and the enabling environment for them to be able to do so. Addressing weather conditions is also critical because that also from the report showed that it contributed 30% to the challenges farmers are facing in terms of productivity. And technology and innovation can address this. New technology and innovation work being done by organizations like Ignitia and a few others around ensuring that farmers can get SMS text messaging that gives them appropriate weather forecasts and supports them also to know when to plant and when to sow their seeds and etc. It's also very important to happen. The type of innovation that we need in the continent is one that is not just looking at the production side, but is also looking at every aspect of the work across the value chain and supporting the farmers from the seed production to the harvest to the storage. These types of innovation will ensure that farmer productivity also can be increased and farmers can also make a reasonable, sizable income from the work that they do. We believe that there are lots of possibilities. So even within the challenges that this report has unveiled, the work that is happening with young Africans across the continent is very inspirational. From Ghana to Kenya to Senegal to Tanzania to Zimbabwe to Rwanda, there are young Africans that have already taken up the challenge to leverage technology to address problems that farmers are facing at the farm level. From drone technology to all kinds of new data gathering that enables farmers to not only have access to capital, but also have the necessary information that they need to be able to improve their productivity. This has inspired us in Heifer to understand that as long as we can come together and support these young innovators, providing the necessary enabling environment for them to grow their business ideas and innovative financing to fund them at different stages of their ideas and able to support these ideas and take them to scale. We believe that our young Africans are definitely going to be the solution that Africa needs to unlock the opportunity we see in our agriculture.
and presently you are at the Idera Hall. We have two exits from this hall, the one in front of me, and then this one. This will take you to your pre-function area. It will take you to the restroom. This will take you to the lagoon front terrace area and then return you to the exit gate. In case of emergency, please do not run, but walk through any of these exits to the car park. Once you step out from this gate, you will see the guest fire assembly point. Also, the restroom is just outside. So when you come out, at your right-hand side, you will see the restroom. It is clearly marked with a male and female sign, so you will not meet your way. For minor injuries, our staff are trained as certified first aider. They'll be available to attend to any injuries. Major injuries, the hotel has a medical management agreement with Reddington Hospital. Reddington Hospital is just Idowu Martins. 3 minutes drive, that team of doctors will arrive at the hotel with their ambulance to evacuate the wounded or the casualties to their hospital. The hotel also has a device called the AED device. It's a portable device they use to restart the heart in case of an unconscious person. For your information, the hotel is not planning any drill today, so please treat any fire alarm as if they are real. Also, just want to tell you that this all does not have CCTV coverage, so please do not leave your personal belongings like your laptop, your cell phone, unattended to. Thank you. Any questions before I step out? In the absence of that, enjoy your meeting. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Cyril, for the safety talk. I know we are all safe by God's grace. Okay, so we're all gathered here for the AYuTe Nigerian Challenge. And as we all know, AYuTe means agriculture, youth, and technology. But we can't continue this event without inviting the country director of Heifer Nigeria to deliver his welcome remarks. Mr. Rufus Idris, please, we would like to welcome you to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the official launch of the AYuTe Nigeria Challenge 2022. I would like to, first of all, recognize the presence of the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, Lagos State. You're welcome in our midst. Well, this shows the passion that you have for transforming the agricultural space in the state and also in the country as well. And also all our media and gentlemen from the press and ladies, you're welcome today. We're happy to have you here because it's supposed to be an event that you can help us share to the rest of the world, and they get to see exactly what we're doing here, as we cannot get every single person that's passionate about this cause to be in this room today. And also to all the partners from other organizations, donor agencies, NGOs, private sector, innovators, tech people, you're also welcome here today. And also to my colleagues from Heifer International, both at the regional and also at the country level office, I also welcome you here today. And also the people supporting from the implementing partner, Enactus Nigeria. Thank you so much for all the wonderful work and for putting this together. And also the comms tech, the comms people, and also the hotel support staff that are supporting us here. Again, my name is Rufus Idris. I'm the country director for Heifer International here in Nigeria. Heifer International is an international development organization, the non-profit, on a mission to end global hunger and poverty. For more than 77 years, Heifer has been working with smallholder farmers, with communities, and we've impacted 39 million households that have been moved out of poverty in various countries. For more than 48 years, we've been working in Africa as well, impacting lives, transforming communities, and leading smallholder farmers into sustainable living income situations to help address the issue of hunger and also the issue of poverty in the global space. Heifer moved to Nigeria in 2021. We started operating in Nigeria because we have an ambitious target going forward to 2025 and 2030 to also help additional 10 million households close that living income gap, and also to ensure that we address poverty and hunger issues across communities. So we've seen Nigeria as a strategic country for us to be in, because we know very well that for every 5 poor people you see in Africa or in Sub-Saharan Africa, one of them is Nigerian. So if you can address the issue of poverty and hunger in Nigeria, then you can impact on a lot of other countries around the sub-Saharan African space that works here. So Nigeria is very, very key to us. So have a look at this. And in 2021, we started one of our initiatives that's called AYuTe Africa Challenge. Like it's been mentioned earlier, AYuTe means agriculture, it means youth, it means technology. There's no way we can address the issue of hunger and address the issue of poverty without scaling the productivity level in the agricultural sector. And to do this, we agree that it's important to integrate youth and also to integrate technology and innovation as well if we must achieve this. So that's like a challenge that started in 2021, ran around many African countries across all the region in Africa. And every year, they only have winners that emerge, the most promising growth stage technology or businesses emerge, and they get to win up to 1.5 million US dollars to drive and expand their activities in Africa. Well, we further see that we need to also see how to domesticate that more at the local level. For some of these tech businesses that are not at the growth stage, but are at the startup stage, they also need help to get to a point of a growth stage and grow beyond that point. And that's why we are here today, to launch the AYuTe Nigeria Challenge, where startup stage companies will compete and winners will emerge and they'll win cash prize up to 20,000 US dollars to start up some initiative around their businesses and also grow that as well. And this is key for us in Nigeria because we know what's going on globally. We know what's going on in Nigeria, a country where population is fast growing, 200 million people as it is, and about 400 million by 2050. We can't even feed 200 million people today. We depend largely on importation to feed ourselves. It means that we need to address issues within to produce locally so we can feed ourselves locally as well. A country where inflation is fast skyrocketing and without addressing inflation rate, especially food inflation being a major part of that, we need the youth, we need the tech, because we're a country where more than half our population are young people with energy, tech savvy, entrepreneurial, that we can channel their energy into transforming the agricultural sector to reduce inflation around food inflation and also see how to feed ourselves and create jobs for people within that space as well. And also a country where a lot of our solutions to address smallholder challenges is beyond the reach of the smallholder farmers. More than 80% of our farmers in Nigeria are smallholder farmers. The food we eat, 90% of the production we do in the country is from smallholder farmers. So we need young people with innovation and technology and ideas that can address the challenge that these smallholder farmers face so we can move forward. Issues around helping them with improving productivity, it could be mechanization. It could be issues around helping to address climate change impact on smallholder farmers. It could be issues around unlocking financing for smallholder farmers. It could be issue also around opening up market that pays premium or fair market price or market shares to smallholder farmers, and the likes and the likes and the likes that we can experience. So today is open. We're going to discuss some more and learn about some of these ideas, what we're about, what we want to achieve, and hopefully we'll be able to launch and declare the event, the competition open, and we look forward to a lot of promising, creative, innovative ideas that will come out of this for Heifer to support, not just this year, but it's going to be a continuum, and we can grow it bigger than what we're starting with today. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I'll wish you a productive deliberation. Enjoy the rest of the day, and let's share ideas together and win together. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rufus Idris. That was a wonderful welcome remark. Please, I would like everyone to put your phone on silence because of the media, and we're live streaming our event. Thank you. Oh, wow. We have our Commissioner for Agriculture of Lagos State in our midst, Miss Abisola Olusanya. You're welcome, ma. And we would like to invite you, if you permit us, to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning, everybody, or should I say good afternoon? So, I see a couple of familiar faces in the room. They're already smiling at me. So, it makes me feel comfortable to a reasonable degree. I would like to actually, we're in the afternoon already. So, I would like to say good afternoon, everybody, particularly to Mr. Rufus Idris. This is my first time of meeting you, but I had to do a bit of a background check just to know those I was coming to meet here. And he's actually a politician. So you seeing him here, talking tech, talking agric, and being also charitable, he's also a politician. So in a way, I felt more comfortable that okay, I have a fellow comrade in the room, because in as much as I don't tag myself a politician, but by default, I am a politician. So it's good to have a fellow comrade in the room. And then to the person that had been liaising with over the phone. Actually, I didn't say much when he sent me messages just yesterday about the program. And all I just said was, okay, noted, okay, noted. Nothing more, nothing less. He sent me the program, he did this, he did that. I didn't have to say much because for me, I felt that this is my constituency, the youth, because I'm one myself. I'm particularly considering the nature of where we are today as a country, as a subnational Lagos. Everything we do has to be centered around the youth because we are the future. We are the now, we are the future. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Even if you had told me that this program was to take place in Ekpe, I'll find my way there because this is my constituency and I must speak to it. And to the gentlemen, the beautiful ladies in the room, a good afternoon, and particularly to members of the press. I mean, you are our partners. There's nothing we do that we don't need you for, and particularly around propagating issues like this that are very germane to what we need to do to move this country forward. I say good afternoon. I'm standing here this morning. So when I saw the message keynote, and I felt in my head, okay, number one, I'm not very good at speeches. Number two, I don't like reading from paper. People don't listen because I've been to so many events. And once you start reading from a piece of paper, everyone just tunes out, pressing their phones and what have you. So what I've seen over the years is you speak from the heart. You might make mistakes along the way, but speak and speak the truth and people will actually listen one way or the other. So I don't know if this is going to really be a keynote address or me just speaking and then hopefully we fumble through it and we get to the end. So I was told that I had to speak on youth and the future of agriculture, particularly with regards to technology. Um, like I said earlier, I have a people here, corporate farmers. Corporate is one youth-centric organization where they are trying to propagate everything, particularly around agriculture. We have other youth centric organizations that I work with. We have Farms to You. We have so many of them. And if I keep mentioning names, I mean, we have Soilless Lab, Samson Ogbole. We have a couple of other people. And it would interest you to note that the reason why we have is into agriculture is just centered on certain issues, particularly about parental or community pressure. I went to a school just a few weeks back where we had done a few things around reorganizing and rehabilitating a to the children in the class. And I started asking each and every single one of them the question, what would you like to be in the future? I didn't have a single child, and these children were between the ages of 9 and 11. Not one of them mentioned that they wanted to get into agriculture. They mentioned pilots, they mentioned doctor, they mentioned lawyer, they mentioned engineer. Quite a few actually even mentioned the military. Nobody anything with to food. And for me, it took me back. And I had to ask them, so you want to be all of these? Who is going to produce or provide the food that you're going to eat to be able to do this? And they all kept quiet. They couldn't answer me. And I asked them, is it because you don't have a role model in society that you would like to emulate? That is one of the biggest problems we have. We are not celebrating the youth in agriculture. We are not celebrating the successful people in agriculture. If you check the media space today, just click on Google. It will just be information. Oh, Tiwa Savage did this. Davido did that. Wizkid did this, Burna Boy did that. That is all that permeates our media space, and these are what our children are watching. No one is talking about the Samson Oboles of this world. Nobody is talking about the Akin Alabis of corporate farmer that even wrote a book pushing his children also in the space of agriculture. Nobody is talking about all of these people. All we are permeating, including we ourselves, we are corporate, is just entertainment and any other type of thing that will just give us immediate gratification, which I can also use football as an example. No one is talking about these things. So when we are saying youth, and we are linking technology and we are saying in agriculture, I think it starts with us. In your homes, do you even have mini farms? And what do I mean by mini farms? You don't even have to have the space, even potted plants. I believe many of us here are parents. What are we trying to do to even begin to show our children that it's actually healthier to grow your food? I don't think many of us are even interested in that. We've taken the availability of food for granted. You believe that, oh, you just say you want to eat jollof rice, tomato, peppers, onions, rice, everything will appear at your table. But the truth of the matter is, and that time is drawing nearer and nearer, the more there are agitations within and around the country, the more we begin to have associations and groups indicate that they want to go on strike. The more we have tribal and ethnic conflict coming in and out of the year as we go along, we will continue to have issues around our food systems and the distribution of this food. Then maybe when we are affected and it is of that level of magnitude, we'll begin to understand that to grow our own food is pertinent. And that is where technology actually comes into place. I mentioned it in terms of the parental pressures. Also, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, access to financing is a major issue. So that's why the youth would not be encouraged to come into agriculture. Access to technical skills, training, capacity building is also an issue. And then when you just talk about the perceived unprofitability around agriculture, I don't think any youth today will see a farmer and say, oh, I would like to be a farmer, unless that farmer is probably driving a G Wagon and living in a beautiful house in Banana Island. Nobody wants to emulate somebody just sitting somewhere in one farm in Badagry, from morning till evening. The person is wearing some shorts that are dirty and a t shirt that is just tattered. That is not the image people want to associate with. And for that reason, people don't want to get into agriculture. So before we even start to push on the technology angle, for me, the image we present about agriculture has to change. That is what will draw people in the first place before we can sit with the youth to say, these are the problems we face in agriculture. And we believe that you are the ones that can help us provide the solutions. It is critical that that be done first. So you talk about Big Brother, because I want to believe the AYuTe challenge will be somewhat of like a Dragon's Den kind of thing, where I mean, as an enterprise, you showcase what it is that you do, and then you have judges who would actually give scores and what have you. We have the Big Brother show, for instance. Are we even looking at it? Why is Big Brother so popular? What is it that they are selling to people that makes them latch on? You have Big Brother episode 9, and now they are tagging it all sorts of names. The last one was Shine Your Eye or whatever. I don't know what this year is, or whatever. I really don't know, and I'm not really concerned about it. But the way and manner in which we also promote agriculture, it has to be that it speaks to the emotions of the people. What I've seen is people are not, and when we want to put out things, it is not to assume that people would automatically gravitate because it makes sense. People are not gravitating to what makes sense in the real sense of things. People are gravitating only to what connect with their emotions. Where are the emotions of the youth as we speak today? People are agitated, people are frustrated, people feel there is no hope. What are we going to speak towards these emotions that would help people begin to understand that agriculture is actually here to stay, and it's important they play a role in it? Those are some of the things that I believe should first and foremost also be looked at intently before we even begin to talk about the use of technology. Now, for the use of technology, there are so many issues in agriculture, and there are so many ways in which technology can come into play. But when we speak technology, some people will usually think, oh, you're talking about high end technology. Just simple, basic use, even of apps on your phone, can be the game changer, can be the problem solver for a lot of the issues we have in agriculture. What I have seen over the years is the biggest challenge is the lack of data. And that lack of data will not allow anyone to be able to make good use of the information to be able to arrive at decision making. And there's nothing worse for any business venture when they are unable to make business decisions that would give them the required profitability. That is why people will continue to run away from agriculture. So, what we are supposed to do, particularly in the use of the technology, is to harness data that is useful, that will be available, and the youth will be able to use it to make the informed decisions required to enter into the space and be profitable at the same time. And like I said, the optics are very important. After having the profitability, the optics around how the model farmer, the model agripreneur looks is critical so that it is a full package. And I believe that from then on, as a people, we'll be able to rise out of the difficulties we find ourselves, particularly around food production, and be able to take this country out of the shadows. Nigeria is one of the most youthful population in Africa. There are only 10 youthful states or 10 youthful countries in Africa, and that's how it's going to be by 2040, 2050, 2060. We need to use those energies today to begin to pioneer agriculture in a way and manner that by the time those years come to fall, we would be at the forefront, whether it's in food production, the use of technology, in GDP, whatever the case may be. We have the advantage right now with us, and we need to begin to harness it. We need to begin to use it properly. So, like I said, we need to start with our children. We need to push across our educational institutions. So I'm apologizing if I'm digressing, if this is no longer a keynote, but I'm just speaking from the heart, like I said. If you go to our educational institutions, tertiary institutions today, so I will call, for instance, the likes of LASU, the likes of Unilag. They have schools of agric, they have agric departments. Go there and ask how many of those students in particular have access to proper farms where they can actually learn. Most of what is being taught is just theoretical, which is why we have a program, the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, where we are actually pushing that those that have a degree in agric. Now, before we didn't used to even propagate that. It just used to be it's open. So long as you are within this age bracket, usually 18 to 40, you can come in for the program. But now we are even being more target oriented to say those who have a degree in agric should actually be given priority in this program. It's just like saying you want doctors to intern. They will definitely intern at the hospital. You will not give priority to a farmer to intern in a hospital. So why do we do that with agriculture, where we relegate those who actually have a degree in it to the background and just make it open for any and everybody? That shouldn't be the case. Prioritize those who already have the knowledge, such that in terms of acceleration of food production, they would be at the forefront. They already have the theoretical knowledge. Just give them the practical knowledge also, and they'll be able to drive it at a faster rate than just making it open to everyone. So we need to go back individually, collectively as a people. We need to start talking to our tertiary institutions. We need to go back to our primary and secondary schools. We need to begin to propagate to our children that the model farmer is profitable. The model farmer is well to do, the modern farmer is educated, and the modern farmer will be the person that will take them out of the dungeons of poverty in the years to come. Because as we see it, with rapid inflation, with a lot of economic instability in the in the world as we see it today, we'll just keep driving ourselves further into an economic chaos. So on that note, I'm very much happy that the AYuTe challenge is here. I'm hoping that we'll have many more challenges like this, particularly things centered around competition within the agri space for the youth. I'm hoping more of it will come up, and I'm hoping that we here will help to propagate it. And to the men in the media, please, you need to also know that you have a role to play. The way and manner in which you push this story forward, it will go a long way in bringing in more people into this space and helping them to see that there's more to life than entertainment. There are more important things that we need to begin to take note of, and agriculture is actually at the forefront of some of the challenges we face in this country. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.
Please, do you mind? Because we're about to have a fireside chat. Thank you so much, Miss Abisola. That was Wonderful. Agric. I remember my father used to be a farmer, and like what she said, we always thought farmers were just those that are wearing like dirty shirts and all that. But it's way more than that. This is it: agriculture, youth, and technology. Without much ado, we're going straight to our fireside chat, and I would like to welcome Mr. Rufus Idris, who is the country director of Heifer Nigeria. And also in our midst here, we have Miss Oluwafumibi Asumonu, Partnership Projects Manager for Pula. Please, you're welcome to the stage, ma. Okay. Before Thank you. Before we invite our moderator, I would like to recognize the presence of Mrs. Olarewanju Oniyito, the consultant expert in innovation and technology financing for Heifer International Nigeria. Thank you. In our midst, we also have Mr. Tunde Olufowora, the CEO of Brand Eye Communications. That's him over there. And we also have Mr. Larry Alabi, Director of Brand Eye Communications. And we have Enactus Nigeria team and Heifer Nigeria team. Thank you. Okay, so now I would like to invite our moderator, the country director of Enactus Nigeria, Mr. Michael Ajayi. He was already on his toes. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen and members of the press. Please put your hands together again for our panel. It's going to be, obviously, going to be a very exciting session, going by the details that the Honorable Commissioner has already provided. It is true that, it has been said again and again, agriculture holds the key to the future. Agriculture contributes more, at least in Nigeria, to the GDP of the nation than any other sector in the nation as at today. The question, therefore, is to what extent can we deliberately leverage technology and innovation to transform that sector and make it even more productive than it already is? Right? And that's part of the focus of this conversation today. The other part, of course, is to talk a little bit more about the AYuTe challenge and how that can facilitate that transformation that we're looking at. So without taking much time, I'd like to jump right into it. So let's start with Mr. Rufus. So Rufus, you've already spoken very elaborately about the vision and purpose of EFA. So I'll give you one more opportunity in, one or two sentences to drive home that point about what the purpose and the vision of EFA is globally and in Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. So we know, and like the Honorable Commissioner mentioned earlier, we are in a very critical state. We're at, more at the, at the crossroad, trying to see how do we feed ourselves and how do we ensure that our food system works for us all. And the many issues around it that I don't want to go into. But importantly is how do we drive productivity in country? If you compare productivity of most of our agricultural produce or agricultural value chain, it's very, very poor and locked into underperformance compared to other countries. The rice yield we get per hectare in Nigeria, or tomato yield we get per hectare, or maize, you can't compare that to most other countries around us, in Africa, for instance. So we know we must do something different. If those farmers must actually get kind of produce or kind of yield that can help move them to sustainable living income, at the same time, increase the amount of production that we get to be able to feed ourselves within the system. So that's critically important. And those ideas are things that can come from our young people. Technology is an enabler that can be used to drive a lot of things across several sectors. We've seen how these have been used in the entertainment sector. and some other sectors in the country, financial sector, for instance, in the country. So we can use the same energy, the same technology, same strategy to increase productivity within the agricultural space and also address very important issues that will not let the sector, agricultural sector, grow in the country. And that's the ultimate aim of this AYuTe Nigeria challenge. Let's identify those young people that have those creative ideas, those innovations. How do we support them to extend that to smallholder farmers to address those issues that smallholder farmers face in the country? And that way we can ensure that food security issues are being addressed and also productivity issues are addressed and also increasing the income for smallholder farmers as well as are being addressed. And this can be in various areas that I know we'll talk about in the course of this discussion.
Fantastic. One of the things I heard you say and that stuck to me immediately was the fact that how you make the similarity between what goes on in the entertainment industry, how the youth in the entertainment industry are driving that with their energy, with their innovation and all that, and how this is what AYuTe Challenge is about also, engaging the youth, integrating them into the entire process of transforming the agricultural sector by leveraging their youthfulness, their energy, their innovation, and all that. Honorable Commissioner, I would bring it back to you at this point to say, what's your thoughts around that? How effective do you think that would be in terms of leveraging the youthfulness of the young people? And we know that they are the first adopters of technology. In fact, I wanted to rephrase that statement now. They are the initiators of new technology, right? So, to what extent can we be successful if we commit to leveraging their youthfulness, their energy, and their innovation to transform the agricultural space? And from your experience working in the sector as well.
So, to what extent? I don't think there's even a limit, or there is no cap to bringing the youth and utilizing their energy within the agri space. I think it's now a matter of do or die. I don't even think it's a matter of, okay, yes, just trying to pull them in and seeing, okay, to what degree. It is a matter of priority. And I think the youth, like I said, we all know they are the future. And particularly in the agri space, without the youth, we would not survive. The average age of the global farmer is 60 years of age. Nigeria is even much higher. And looking at the way our geography is, we have predominantly been reliant on those in the north to supply us food down south. But that also is changing. The demography is changing with the rising insecurity, particularly in the north. You have more of the farmers, particularly those who are even younger, coming down south, and they are taking up other forms of businesses and other forms of life income earning capabilities. They are taking up those as opposed to coming into farming. And obviously, that is as a result of them requiring the resources here for land, for capital, and what have you. So, with the changing demography, it's only the older, much older farmers that are still back in the north. And for that reason, they will not have as much strength to be able to provide that food that we would need down south, which is why it is critical that those of us here, we stop sleeping, we wake up from this slumber. And this is a message, a clarion call to the youth to say, this very future you want for this country, for this state, it is in your hands. We are ready. Let's open up our space around the engagements, particularly to say, okay, in the agri sector, what can we do together to ensure that we begin to provide our food? A lot of people will say, oh, Lagos doesn't have the space, it's the smallest state, it's this, it's that. But just look at a country like the Netherlands, similar terrain to Lagos, a very small country, but the second largest exporter of agro produce in the world. We've been to the Netherlands to understudy why and how are they successful. And it's a national policy. It's a nationally driven policy. Now, in as much as I'm comparing a nation to a state, we as a state government, we've taken it upon ourselves as well to say, hey, if we want to remain, if we want to still be this state that, yes, we are the largest economy in Nigeria, sixth largest in sub-Saharan Africa, we need to rise up and let our youth get involved in this, which is why we are also adopting so many programs Recently, there's a particular program that we have started, which is the Lagos Agric Scholars Program. So when we speak about the youth, we normally target those in the tertiary institution age range, but we are going even further below to start inculcating and bringing in our primary school and secondary school students into the fray. The Agric Scholars Program, we engaged a youthful organization where we are doing a pyramid system of farming to say we need to see and make sure that our youth see that, okay, hydroponics is possible, soilless farming is possible. You can actually use the feces from chicken poultry, you can actually use it to feed the fish. The wastewater from the fish can actually be processed in such a way and manner that you can use it to water the plant. And that way you have a reticulated system where there is less waste, there's less use of energy, and the children themselves will feel the need to understand that yes, climate change action, they are also part of the change. So truth be told, there is no limitation. This is the only way, and we need to start to spread that story and make it a gospel.
Brilliant. There couldn't have been a better commissioner for agriculture. The, the passion, it's obvious that you're very into this. And I like how you also referenced Netherlands as a nation and, comparing that, what they are doing and what Lagos State as a government or as a state is trying to achieve as well, and actually taking some learnings from them and doing that. And you also spoke about the farmers scholars agric scholar program, which is fantastic as well. Because I was just going to ask you that now that you've spoken so well about how it is important to integrate the youth into the entire process, what specifically is a state doing? Now you've spoken about what you're doing with people in secondary school students and even undergraduates and all that. But is there any program that Lagos State government is doing right now that focuses on smallholder farmers? Fantastic. Do you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah. So when it comes to smallholder farmers, I mean, we have them across various value chains. So if you're talking about poultry, you have the small scale poultry farmer, you have the small scale fish farmer, or even the artisanal fisherman. So they are usually small scale. So across these various value chains, we're actually doing a lot individually, collectively, around making sure that when it comes to food production, they have the requisite support, and we're also creating the ecosystem. So for the smallholder farmers, we have over 150,000 of them in Lagos. And I'm not talking about their households, I'm talking about the individual farmer. I know that number might sound strange, that you mean in Lagos we actually have 150,000. Yes, we do. If you go to Ikorodu, if you go to Badagry, if you go to the Ekpe, Ibeju axis, there are lots of farmers in that area or in those areas. Now, for each of these areas, they also have specific value chains that are of prime importance to them. So if you go to the Bejuleki axis, we have a lot of rice farmers there. We also have a lot of fishermen there and aquaculture farmers. So in terms of the interventions we try to bring to the fray, we don't want to predict and provide. What we do is more or less have the engagement to say, what do you need at this point in time to enable you scale the hurdle towards ensuring that you are more profitable as a farmer. Now, it might interest you to note, majority of them are not even asking for things like inputs. Marketing is actually the biggest challenge that farmers here in Lagos have. And you would ask, how can marketing be challenged? How can it be the problem? You have so many markets in Lagos. But you need to understand that even the way our markets are run are completely different. And unless you are a part of that system, you will not understand. Majority of the food sold in Lagos market are not even grown by Lagos farmers. Yet we have Lagos farmers. And for the fact that there's more or less like a cartelization. So there are cartels also running this market. They are not allowing the farmers within the state to thrive, therefore discouraging those farmers from continuing with production, and you end up seeing those farmers give up on the business and move on to something else. So essentially, more or less like discouraging the farmers that we even have internally and promoting those from outside to the detriment of those of us that are here in the state. What we are doing, particularly around this, is the Food Systems Transformation Program, which essentially is to say what you see in other countries. So you look at the likes of the UK, you look at other countries, even in France, they have the largest agro produce markets, the largest agro produce hubs in the country and in the continent. So the Rungis market, for instance, in Paris, it is sited on about 234 hectares of land. Annually, they do transactions of over 9 billion euros. And when you consider the quantum, France is a small country relatively to other countries around it. But with that quantum of revenue being generated, it means that the market and the ability for farmers to be able to come into the market, sell, access customers, and be able to put that profit back into ensuring that there's much wider production, it is actually germane to any other type of intervention you might bring into the space. You can give farmers all the inputs you want. You can get them access to financing by giving them links to banks. But if the marketing is not done right, everything you have done has been wasted. They must have that accessibility. And for us, we feel that that is the biggest key to changing the narrative around agriculture in Lagos and in Nigeria. Once we get marketing right, and also for the consumers to even be able to trace where their foods are coming from, we'll begin to get agriculture right, and people will begin to perceive it as being profitable, and you have more youth-centric people and more youth involved in the agri space.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, yeah, Rufus, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that the Honorable Commissioner mentioned growing foods and agricultural activities in Badagry, in Ekpe, and in Ikorodu as of the state. You know, we used to believe that Lagos is just the consumer, it's just market for produce, and that Lagos cannot produce or does not produce anything. So under our Niger Unlock potential program for the country, where we look at specific value chain and trying to unlock the potential there for us to produce enough to feed ourselves in the country. We've already identified states with various value chain that we want to work in. So we initially wanted to work in the tomato value chain in a neighboring state. So that can fit into the Lagos market and some of the market that we have established in Lagos. So over the weekend, I was in Badagry. We were rethinking that, say, can we do something in Badagry, in Ekpe, and in Aja? Ekpe and Ikorodu. So we already have a mapping exercise on the way to map some of those farmers. So I saw one of the biggest tomato farm in my life in Badagry. It's a remote community, completely off-grid, and they're doing that thing. And we see a lot of applications for technology like what we're talking about here in that space. A lot of them complain about the market. So you're talking about marketing and linking to market that pays them premium price for their product. So we're looking at something around that area. They talked about the irrigation system. They have a somehow fabricated irrigation system, but they currently use diesel or petrol to fuel it, which is expensive to them. Can we get convert that to a solar powered irrigation system for them so they can tap into solar energy to pump that space? That same period where I was there, it just started raining. They're already carrying out some activities that shouldn't have been carried out when it's going to rain. So working with the likes of Ignitia, like we're thinking about now, they won't give them water advisory services. So you know tomorrow is going to rain. So you don't do activities that does not require rain. Tomorrow is good, it's going to be windy. You don't start spraying tomorrow when it's windy and the whole chemicals or whatever you're using is everywhere. So we're looking at working with you, Honorable Commissioner, and see how we can support some of those parts. We have the cold storage that we're also working with cold hubs. They're using solar powered cold storage system as well. That we're trying to also introduce to some of those location. And we have our Heifer International's Power, Water, and Internet Initiative. It's something that we do when we go to any community. We address issue around power, issue around water, issue around internet or connectivity, especially in the remote area. So we'll definitely be reaching out and see how we can do some more work in some of those clusters in Lagos.
Absolutely. It's just refreshing, to see, have people talk about agriculture with the passion that both of you do. Here you have a state government which is trying to push boundaries, and on the other side you have a private organization which is vested in developing the sector. So, like Rufus said, we look forward to great partnerships that will enhance the transformation of the sector, empower our young people, improve the livelihoods of smallholder farmers, and transform everybody's life story. We also have on the panel Oluwafumidi, who is with Pula, and she manages partnerships project. She's a project manager for partnerships for Pula. Fumi, I'm sorry, it looked like we left you, but I saved the best for the last year. So Fumi, you are interested, and the work you do allows you to, leverage technology and innovation to support smallholder farmers to grow their work, increase profitability, and all of that. So the question I have for you is, using what you do as a case study, would you share how you think technology and innovation can be used to transform agriculture? I mean, because that's what we're talking about, right? So we want some measure of validity to say, yes, indeed, innovation and technology can transform agriculture based on what you do and what you have experienced?
All right. Thank you so much. Just a bit of background for people that do not know what Pula is. Pula is an agricultural insurance technology company that is restructuring agricultural insurance and providing comprehensive agricultural insurance to smallholder farmers. So what we are doing is trying to provide insurance to the unbanked, untapped, uninsured 1.5 billion farmers in the world. And how are we doing this? We are providing comprehensive insurance because when we got into the market, found that most farmers had access to the weather index insurance. Weather index insurance only covers risks such as drought and flood. And farmers face more than this risk. There's pests, there's diseases, there's fly cyclones, there's landslide. There are so many risks that farmers are exposed to that weather index insurance does not cover. So we had to innovate around that to kind of find a solution, a comprehensive insurance that allows smaller farmers and cover most of the risks that they are exposed to. So our area yield index insurance covers this large bucket of risk, right? And we are also using technology to kind of drive that. How are we using technology now to transform agriculture, which is now the question that you've asked? First, when we get the farmers' data, right, we are looking at their agroecological zone. Where are the farmers located? What crops are they planting? What risk are they most exposed to? In the north, like she was mentioning, there's also a lot of drought. In 2020, in the north, they faced both drought and flooding. Like this does this like she was mentioned, climate change also is affecting farmers in the north and Nigeria as a whole. And we are finding that every year there's a new risk that farmers are exposed to. And we're trying to be able to find out how can we better use technology to drive this. So we get the farmers data, we find the risk that they're exposed to, then we get their average production history. Like on average, what is supposed to be the yield that farmers are making from this, right? And then we use our Polar Insurance Engine. Polar Insurance Engine allows us to price insurance faster. We have the data. We are pricing insurance. Usually, on average, when you use Excel models, it takes you a week or two to be able to price insurance. We price insurance in 48 hours. Like we get the data, we are pricing insurance in 48 hours because we have Polar Insurance Engine that allows us to process this data faster. Now that we've gotten the price of the insurance, we place this risk with our partners like Leadway Insurance. We partner with Swiss Re, Africa Risk Capacity to be able to make sure that this risk, because agricultural risk is very large. I give an example. In 2020, we insured Central Bank of Nigeria through NASA and the Agro Bora program, right? And in that year, we faced both drought and flooding. We made the largest payout in agriculture in that year. We paid 6 million naira, 6 million US dollars in that year only to 600,000 farmers, right? So how are we doing this consistently? Because the risk is large, we cannot just place this risk within. We need to be able to expand the risk so that when farmers do incur losses, they are being able to receive payment. Also, we're not just leaving the farmers to go plant. We don't just give farmers input and say, okay, go plant. We are giving them in-season agronomy tips and advisory services. How are we providing this? We are using it to our field sense suite. We call it field sense in Polar. What this entails is SMS, WhatsApp, USSD code, IVR, which is interactive voice response, right? So when the farmers plant, we know when they plant. We tell them, okay, in 10 days, the rain is going to fall. You need to start planting now. We tell them, like recently with our Mexico client, Mexico Nigeria, we are currently implementing the rural residence activity that is financed by USA. And on August 10th, we sent the farmers in Yobe, Gombe, Adamawa, 3,000 of them, pest control SMSs, what exact pesticide to use and how to apply it. We told the farmers in Yobe, the rice farmers in Yobe, how to apply their urea and when to apply it, how many centimeters, how many buckets to use by what spread. We are giving them these tips and telling them when to do this in their local languages because you find that these data are available in English language and they do not, these farmers speak Hausa generally, right? We are providing this information to them in their local language so that they can actually understand it and use that information. It is not enough that the information exists. They need to be able to understand the information they are providing to them in an accessible manner. Okay, if we're not on ground, how do they access us? Do we have the USSD code that they can easily dial to say, okay, this is what the issue is? We have the IVR that we also use. So we are kind of using technology in every space, in every sphere to kind of turn around time and transform agricultural insurance for smallholder farmers in Nigeria and in Africa at large. Thank you.
Great, great.
Sorry.
Yes,
So
please.
just to add quickly as well, some recent work that we did with Pula in Nasarawa and in Benue State. So we insured over 4,000 rice farmers in Benue and Nasarawa State. Surprisingly, at the end of the season, more than 3,000 farmers of those 4,000 plus farmers suffered losses. due to drought. And that led to them being able to, at least at this time around, get some sort of claim being paid by lead ones to these farmers to compensate for the loss they would have experienced if nobody was there to pay for them. The farmers are now more interested and willing to go back into the system. So this particular season, we're looking to do 15 to 20,000 farmers being insured through the same pool arrangement that we have. I was also informed, I mentioned that technology, though, to the smallholder farmers is something new, and they will gradually adapt to that system. So some of them, with the technology they're using now, it requires less interference or less uh, interaction in person with the farmers, because technology can capture a lot of those things. Farmers are saying, "Oh, I did my farm yesterday. You didn't."
Should such a thing happen again, they were a fantastic idea. And this really is what the AYuTe challenge, identifying innovative solutions that protect agriculture or protect farmers and support the growth of agriculture as a whole. So coming back to you now, let's circle back to Rufus and talk more a little bit about AYuTe challenge now. So we've spoken a lot about what the government is doing, what the technology is doing already through Pula, and what you do as an organization. But now let's come back to the AYuTe challenge. What are the expectations for you as an organization? What do you hope to get out of this? To what extent do you think the AYuTe challenge will really transform the agricultural sector? And what sort of impact should we expect in the space? Not just in the space, in the agricultural space, but also in the economy as a whole. Rufus.
Thank you so much. So the AYuTe Nigeria Challenge is an offshoot of the AYuTe Africa Challenge. It was important to let me drive it from there. So the AYuTe Africa Challenge started in 2021. And after that competition, we had two important winners that came out of that. One of them is Hello Tractor, and the other is Cold Hops. Today, Hello Tractors have worked with Heifer International to extend or improve on the access to tractor for smallholder farmers in the country. And between 2021 and now, over 40 tractors have been distributed or moved into farm space to support smallholder farmers. What did we do? I mean, Help Tractor was mainly trying to redefine the financing model for tractors. People will say we cannot access tractors because it's too expensive. We don't have collaterals for bank. We cannot get tractors. Farmers are out there looking for tractors, no tractors available. But through this work with Heifer International and Hello Tractor, they define the pay-as-you-go model for financing tractors. So once you're able to book certain amount of hectare of land that shows that you can get that tractor working all year round, you can go and get a tractor financed, and you pay as you use the tractor because there's some technology and devices attached to the tractor to track how much work the tractor is doing, when it's due for servicing, and they can track all of that. So a percentage of what you're earning from the tractor goes to servicing your loan. And by that, we have like 40 tractors already in Nigeria. We have a couple also in other of our countries like in Kenya and in Uganda as well through that Hello Tractor partnership. Over $4.5 million has gone into that already, supporting that system in those three different countries. That just shows you the kind of things that can happen. Aside winning a $1 million grant, now we've been able to expand that to something bigger to make the right kind of impact. Having farmers being able to work more on their farm, complete farm tasks faster, and also get more product, more yield because of the enhanced way of preparing the land and also working the land during the farming season. The second one is cold hops. So cold hop is to address the almost 40 to 60 or 70% of post-harvest loss that happen in tomato value chain. So what he's doing is that locating hubs of cold hops, solar power in areas where farmers are around that area, farmer centers where they can quickly preserve their tomato and increase the shelf life before it goes to the market. Or in marketplaces where market women that are selling tomatoes, when they're done for the day, they can't take the tomatoes home. It's probably going to perish. So they have a cold storage in the farm and the market location where they can go and store their tomatoes and they can continue again from there the next day and going forward. That's that for that. So expectation for this Nigeria challenge is to see something similar. They might not be at the growth stage of Hello Tractor or Cold Hops or Ignitia or Pula or some big companies, but young guys that have some simple, like Commissioner mentioned earlier, it could be simple innovation but that can solve major problems for smallholder farmers. That's the expectation that we have, that we can identify some of those unique and promising technology and businesses. We can support them with the cash grant to do some work that can elevate them from where they currently are. We can also get them through mentorship program that can help mentor them business-wise and also technical-wise to improve on their business model. We found out a few years ago that most of the Nigerian tech that has been developed, why they don't grow is not just because it's not innovative. Some of them are driven by the passion of the inventor. Oh, I'm passionate about this. But what is the market side of it? Is it bankable? Is it commercially viable? So this kind of support they will get probably through this mentorship support. And we're also looking with Heifer's ambiguous vision for Africa and for Nigeria. At some point, it makes sense to some of the work that we're currently doing and some of our value chain. We'll look for a way to integrate that technology into doing wider work for farmers that we want to help. We're looking at around a 1 million smallholder farmers being supported by 2025. So that mean a lot for some of those people. Thank you.
Great, great. So we also have members of the press who are here. So at some point, we're going to take a few questions from the hall and perhaps one or two other questions from online because a lot of people are watching on online. So technical, please take note if we have any questions and let us know from online. So let us at this point, provide opportunity for members in the audience, the press, and anyone else who may have a question or two. Can I have a microphone in the floor? We have two hands raised. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed. My name is Aki Alabi, co-founder visionary at Corporate Farmers International. It's an honor to be here, and it's always excited for me to see my Oga HC Abisola speak about what they're doing in Lagos State. I work closely with her, and I know the effort Lagos Agric puts into developing youth in agric. So, just to add to what you said, not to add per se, but just to quickly put some short into it. One of the things that we've done that most times we forget to highlight in terms of technology or agriculture is about the first thing that comes before you even start the farming business, and that is education, knowledge. You see, most agripreneurs, because we've been in the sector for the past 20 years, and I know what I'm talking about, most agripreneurs or young folks fail because they are driven by passion, but do not have the knowledge. I want to do it because my friend is doing it, but do we have that knowledge to drive it? So one of the things that we've done, we took our time, sometimes 2020, 2021, to develop what I can call maybe the first African agri-tech and edtech platform, whereby you can visit and learn agriculture and the business across 5 major value chain. We did it because of the fact that it was important to do it, to let younger agripreneurs get first-hand knowledge. Then we now took it further to collaborate with Lagos State government for practical. So if you're done with knowledge in terms of virtual learning, you can now go to Lagos State, one of their campuses in Ekwe Badagry, to now learn physically either on any of the value chain, poultry, piggery, like any of the value chain available. We now take it further by saying, okay, then we need funds because we're a private entity. We don't have grants. We run it ourselves via structure and strategy. Then again, we have partner banks that can also render some support. We're not saying, once you're done, write a business plan. We can tender it to a bank partner. I don't want to mention their name here, but our bank partner that can support your business. So this is what we've done. So what I want to say about this IT challenge is that let's also look at knowledge-based platform in agriculture so that you just jump into creating something you do not have knowledge about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good, valid contribution. That is. Do we have a question?
Okay, my name is Daniel Eshet, Business Destination. Well, I want to find out from Heifer International whether you have a model farm.
Heifer International.
Yes, Heifer International. I want to find out from whether you have a model farm component in this in among your initiatives, because the problem we find out that people don't know how to apply good agronomic practice or how to run agriculture profitably. I remember when Harvest Plus and the rest were doing about 45 cassava. I was invited to Federal College of Agriculture, Akure. Generally, the tonnage per hectare for cassava is about 15, 25 tons. So they were working on achieving 45 tons. You see, if we have model farms like that, where you translate feasibility into result, it will help. Not just creating farms. Let's have demo farms around Lagos where you could partner with Lagos state government, start one in Ekpe, so that farmers could go and see how it takes to run a farm on one plot, on 1 acre. You see this result, it helps. Then also we're talking about, Madam was talking about, you see this emphasis on farming, whether in Kenya, Uganda. And then also, I think I was in Morocco where I saw, you go to Morocco, Netherlands, you find emphasis on urban farming. And you find something like rooftop farming. I want to see a situation where before Madam leaves is an Alausa, I want to see a rooftop farm in the secretariat because that will encourage people to see. If you go, there's a space in Alausa where there's a space you can use hydroponic and build something, whether in the back of the secretariat. You go there, it's fashion, whether in Kenya, whether in Uganda, Netherlands, you find rooftop farms. And I see if you have that, you will see a lot of people going to agriculture. Let's see something in the secretariat where people can come and either you see a greenhouse there or you find a rooftop farm on the secretariat. Either in the back, you see a lot of people to learn. I'm not against tech, but I have been in pitch commission. You see fine people doing the same thing, either e-commerce charts. I don't think that's the problem. The problem is the back end. Let's address the production because you don't have tech, we don't have startup that provide solutions for weather and all that, which we need. And the issue of traceability, because banks cannot fund farmers where you cannot trace them and all that. So those are areas we're looking at. So I want you for at least partner with Lagos State. Let's concentrate on vertical farming, build solution around that place. It will encourage the young people passing Alausa and other places to embrace agriculture.
Thank you very much. Earlier on, when Madam started speaking, she made reference to the fact that Rufus is also a politician. I can tell that I see your name badge as a media man, but I know that your alter ego, you are also an agriculturist. Yeah, going by your questions. Okay, so essentially you have a question for Rufus about the model farm. If Heifer International has a model farm, whether in Nigeria or anywhere else where people can go to and learn about how to farm actually.
Thank you so much. So Heifer's model for many years has been using a value-based, holistic community development approach. And that means working with the smallholder farmers in their respective communities. And as you're doing that, you're introducing them to new way of farming that can improve their yield and productivity, and they can see what there. Like I mentioned to you that we're new in that. But that notwithstanding, we're talking to a couple of partners. And what we intend to do is to have agricultural hubs in respective communities where we work, in farming clusters. And within that hub, there will be demo farm. For instance, if you're working in a hub that addresses tomato farmers, there will be like greenhouse farming there. The farmers can come and see how it's been done, see how it's been done, and they can learn about those processes. And that can help them move forward within that space. We're also considering that seriously also in some of the work we want to do around our cattle and livestock value chain work. The farmer header crisis is a big thing for us. Heifer, you know very well, has been big on livestock from day one. We have experience from all over the world doing livestock work. So there's no way we'll be in Nigeria and not be able to lend that expertise to Nigeria to address the farmer header crisis in the country, which is largely due to climate change impact. In search for pasture, in search for what drives these pastoralists to move from one place to the other. So we're currently talking to two states in Nigeria where Heifer International is willing to invest in a model ranch program that's more of a regenerative. That within the same space, someone have been trained how to regenerate pasture for their farm, for their animals all year round. And where they can to water on that same space to show that you don't necessarily have to move to raise cattle, and it's even more profitable to raise cattle within a space than moving around to another location. So in the next few weeks, some of our colleagues will be going to Zimbabwe, for instance, to go and see what we've done there, or what one of our partners has done there, and see how we can bring that some of those ideas to Nigeria. So I agree with you 100%. Model farming to show people what I mean. Farmers need that because they always often don't want to leave what they have for something new. I remember a few years ago, we were doing some work in cassava, like you mentioned. We're trying then to have them do ATMS 419 or whatever. They're reluctant because they don't like that species. They're not used to that variety. They wanted to stick to their own variety that they had in the past. So it took a lot of showing model farming, showing how that one yield more, how you can get more compared to what they currently have to get them to that phase. So I agree with you 100% that is the way to go. And yes, SAFA is contributing doing that in some of our communities.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but before we take the next question, just to let the IT unit know that we are open to taking questions from online if there's any question from online. Yes, next question.
Thank you very much. My question is to the Honorable Commissioner. I really appreciate for being in this platform, for being here this afternoon. And I was happy when you mentioned that you were in a gathering and you asked students about why and what do you want to do. And few persons mentioned to be a farmer and all of that, right? I'm so happy to have you here. And that's why somebody like me, we're trying to create that narrative, to change that narrative that it is okay for you to take agric and food business as a career. There's nothing wrong with it. But this is my question. The farmers, the smallholder farmers, when you see them, you don't want to go into agric because they look poor, actually. And my question is, I've been in this business, I've been through all the value chain, and I know that the farmers as the smallest portion of this food business. Now, what is the government doing to make sure that there's a policy that favors the farmer? When I work in Abuja and I know that you farm a product, you wait for it for 3 months, 4 months to come out, and you take it to the retail, you take it to the wholesaler, and they are buying for a price of 10 naira. A farmer does not have any other choice than to sell it, right? Because if that product lasts a day after, it gets spoiled. If it is an organic product, it gets spoiled faster. And after you sell that product, you get to their store, you see that that product is being sold for times 4 or 5 of what you sell to them. When you sell to direct customers, customers do not want to buy from you. But that same product, you find the same customer in the supermarket buying it for the times 4 of the product a farmer can sell to the direct customer directly. So my question is, what is the government doing to ensure that there's a policy that favors the smallholder farmer? Because we cannot truly eradicate hunger. There is not going to be poverty alleviation if the smallholder farmers are still in the same poverty without any policy favoring them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.
So, thank you very much for that question. It boils down back to the marketing of the produce. You are very much right. So, on average, between the farmer and the final consumer, or rather, between the farmer and the final market person that sells an item to you, you'll find on average about 7 middlemen in between. The farmer is stuck with the produce. The middlemen want to make a lot of money. The market woman at the end of the day also has to pay a higher price than what she would have otherwise bought from the farmer directly. And at the end of the day, you have the market woman suffering because she makes a very small margin. And you also find the farmer suffering even much more because he put in all the effort and at the end of the day, he's not getting the result, which is why agriculture is being perceived as being very unprofitable. And even farmers that have been in the line of work for decades are opting out because they are seeing that it looks like it's an endless cycle of poverty. Marketing is still the solution. And when I say marketing, I don't necessarily mean, okay, how do you get your goods to a particular location and get customers to come in? It is to have things like an aggregation hub where you have dealers who have capable storage facilities. So at the end of the day, storage is also very critical. As a farmer, for instance, I harvest cassava. Cassava must be processed within a day. If not, the entire cassava would spoil. What you have at the end of the day is farmers who have no choice but to sell at whatever price the person who is taking it off of them is willing to pay. And as a result, they end up suffering for it. So if we had proper storage systems, we had proper preservation facilities, we have processing cities, you won't issues, which is why, as a statement, we have embarked on our food systems transformation program. I speak to you right now, we are concluding construction on the first model of its type of a middle level agro produce hub at Mushi Idioro. And part of what we are supposed to do, so that particular area, that market, there's a market there which is specifically for plantain sellers only. But when you get there, you find out that a lot of the plantain is rotting. You find a lot of waste, and as a result, so imagine bringing a truckload of plantain for which other part of Nigeria into that market, and about 50% of it is spoiled in 2 or 3 days' time. The market person who brought in that plantain is still going to charge the average consumer the price of which that person would have otherwise bought 2 bunches or 3 bunches. But now you're buying 1 bunch for that same price you would have otherwise bought 2 or 3 bunches because of the weight. Now, what market is supposed to solve is we have proper storage facility for plantain especially. So you are not just doing a massive storage facility that can cater to anything. Plantain has to be stored in the right way. One of the ways of preserving the longevity of plantain is to hang. So you must have hangers where the you must have the right structure, local store. So these are some of the that we are beginning to look at to say what are those value chains that are critical to us. What will be the right storage conditions under which this plantain will be stored that would be okay for the farmer and even for the market women, that at the end of the day you are cutting out so many middlemen, and at the end of the day the farmer is profitable because they're actually able to sell directly, and the women who are selling these items are also be able to make enough money. Not enough money necessarily as a result of hiking up the price, but having enough plantain to sell so the volume to make up for that profit that they would otherwise have lost in selling just one of plantain, which you will not have a lot of customers being able to afford, but being able to get that volume and pushing through at the end of the day. So these are some of the challenges, and marketing and the aggregation and storage of these items is actually what is critical to helping the farmer achieve what it is that they want to achieve profitability wise.
Thank you very much, Madam Honorable Commissioner, for that. So at this point, we will quickly get into final words. Yeah. So we will quickly get into the final words from. So start off with Fumibi. We've talked about agriculture. We've talked about how innovation can drive that, how technology can support that. Shared an example of a process program in place that is supporting agriculture already. And so now we're looking at the AYuTe challenge in itself as a tool that can help facilitate that entire process, at least in Nigeria. And Rufus has shared also about how that has been used on the African continent as a whole, talking about Elu Tractor and the other case study he cited. So as we get into the AYuTe challenge now, what will be your final thoughts and final words for young people out there who are venturing into agriculture and who would possibly take advantage of this challenge and improve what they are already doing?
All right. Thank you very much. I think final words for me would be taking advantage of this platform is very, very key because mentorship, finance, and all of the things that AYuTe is offering is not easy to get from one source. For us in Pula, we are always leveraging partnerships. It's very important. It's very easy because we know that if we want to place risk, we can easily call Leadway. If we want to partner with, we have relationship with Mexico, with Heifer International, with the World Bank, with WFP. We know to go to. It's not easy for the youth to always know who to make or where to go to or where to access help. This platform is very important. Hello Tractor, for example, I've seen how large they've scaled. You hear Tribe Agric, we hear of a lot of Agrictech in Nigeria and see how they've scaled. And it's not very easy to access finance, mentorship, and all of the things that AYuTe Challenge is offering. So I really think that the youth should actually take initiative to also access this challenge and take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll bring it back to Honorable Commissioner now. You've been in this space for quite a while as well, and seeing what is about to be unleashed in the Nigerian economy in terms of the AYuTe challenge. What will be your word first to Heifer International and also to the Nigerian youth and entrepreneurs out there and how they can leverage this platform?
Thank you. So, my words to Heifer would be communication is critical, and depending on the target audience, and my suggestion is let's not limit this to a particular age range. To say maybe it must be people from tertiary institution age upwards or what have you. It should actually be open because the younger the better. So, if you're targeting, let's say those in secondary school, for instance, what would be that medium of communication that resonates best with them? I have kids and they love cartoons, they love animation, I am to watch animation, movies, and what have you. It's critical to begin to imbibe some of these communication tools and use it as a way of catching them and bringing them into the fray. So I believe communication is key. Sorry that I might be digressing. So, for instance, we collaborated with corporate farmers. We are coming out with several different cartoon series talking about projects that Lagos State government is doing, such that the students in the primary schools would already begin to understand. Not many of them watch LTV or Channels TV or Arise TV to listen to the news. So they'll rather listen to second-hand or third-hand information that they hear in school. But when it comes to entertainment, they are quick to grasp it because it seems easy for them to understand. So some of these challenges, some of this competition, we need to begin to speak it in a language that they understand. And then for the Nigerian youth, I would say tertiary institution is key as well for the AYuTe Challenge for Heifer International. The reason why I'll bring it back to the tertiary institutions now also is this. In as much as this competition is open and you have people bring all sorts of innovative ideas, it's still critical to target School of Agric or Agric institutions, Agric learning institutions. These students already have the theoretical knowledge. Some of them actually have farms that they actually work on or people that they mentor under. It will be important to actually make sure that they are prioritized in a way that they will be able to bring the solutions to bear better because they understand the needs of the farmer better and they put themselves in the shoes of the farmer. Therefore, walking the mile is much easier and the solutions they provide are more target oriented and will deliver the results. For the Nigerian youth out there, agriculture is still the key. You want to be an entertainer, you must eat. You want to be the governor, you must eat. You want to get into politics, become the president, change your community, change your environment, you must eat. We are all here today. We must all eat. Even if you are fasting, you cannot fast for more than 24 hours, or let's even say 48 hours. Even if you choose to fast and say you fast for 1 week, you must eat. As we step out of this room, is food that is lined up there. It is not drugs. It is not clothes. It is not any of those things. It is still food. We must all eat. Therefore, Nigerian youth, I ask, this is even a clarion call. If we really want to deliver this country from the shackles of insecurity, from the shackles of poverty, agriculture is the key. Any society in this world, any industrialized, any developed nation in this world, their roots started and is edged and is founded on agriculture. Check it out. California in the United States, one of the largest economies in that country, it is hinged on agriculture. So there is nothing you would look at today in any country. Agriculture is actually the key. So if you really want to bring Nigeria out of where we are today, agriculture is the focus, and this is one of the platforms that can help you in bringing about the results we want to see in this country.
Thank you very much. We have one question from online, from one of the online platforms. So, Rufus, I think this is directed at you. So you will respond to this question and then give your final thoughts concerning the YouTube program and all of that. So the question is that the Honorable Commissioner said it during a keynote that this event is open to students and graduates with past or present experience in agriculture aspect. So I want to ask if this AYuTe challenge is also available to other people in different sectors. I have the answer to that, but I'll let you I'll let you answer it.
Okay, one of my friends will always say that food is the one and only best medicine. Before you can do any of your ambitious target, ambitious activities, what you want to achieve in life, if you don't have food inside your stomach, then you cannot achieve them. So I would say that AYuTe Challenge is focused on agriculture. We want to address the food crisis that we have in Nigeria. Currently, we're struggling. We cannot feed ourselves as a nation, like I mentioned earlier. There's a huge opportunity for our people if we can produce more locally. 22 billion US dollars is being spent annually to import food for us to eat. That means that we have a large opportunity there to produce. There have been several government policies banning importation of poultry, restricting importation of rice and tomato paste, some even restricting forex exchange for them to do that. But that means that the government wants us to produce locally and internally. But the farmers, which are like 80% of our rural dwellers, that produce 90% of our food, like I mentioned earlier, are struggling. They cannot compete. Most times when they finish production, the cost of production, because of the yield they get, is not competitive. It's just too expensive compared to bringing this from elsewhere. So we need technology and innovation from our young people. This is like 50% of our population or more. You can help us out, and you have that energy and that tech savviness. They've done this very well in the entertainment space. We all see it. We've done this well in the finance space. I think it's a turn to do this in the agricultural space, so we can feed ourselves in Nigeria, and we can even feed others outside our space. So the call, my own parting words would just be: we need we need our youth to help rescue our smallholder farmers, so we can rescue the country. The smallholder farmers are yearning for this. Our youth, a lot of them tech savvy and entrepreneurial, have some ideas that they can bring to the table. I believe combining those kind of energy will really help us. At Heifer, we already believe and we're committed to this, because we always say at Heifer that the farmers are the future. There's no way about it. The smallholder farmers are people that we need. And we are committed to this cause of doing this challenge. We're looking towards to growing this challenge beyond what it is now. And also we have other programs in country. Like I mentioned before, we have our Niger Unlock signature program, which is a bigger program to address issues and support smallholder farmers in the rice value chain, in the tomato value chain, in the poultry value chain, the cattle value chain, the small ruminant, that's goat and sheep value chain as well. So we're doing some very big work that we're doing here. So Heifer International as well is not a program, and it's not a project like you will see, oh, this foundation, this NGO has this project for 2 years, for 3 years, for 1 year. We believe addressing the issue that we have in our food system and agriculture cannot be solved in 1 year and in 2 years. So Heifer's smallest, the shortest program we'll have in any country is 10 years. But we're not even living in 10 years. Heifer will be in Nigeria for the longest until we can address the issue of hunger and poverty. And that's what we've done in other African countries where we've worked as well. So it's a long-term relationship. We're working with you. We're working for many years, not a 2-year project or a 1-year project, until we resolve and address the issue. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you very much. I think at this point, let's put our hands together for the panel. As we prepare to move on to the next segment of this conversation, which will be to talk about how people can now apply and join the competition, share the application and all that. So, but before we go on to that, thank the Honorable Commissioner for taking the time to be part of this and for investing so much. And thank you for the information you have provided and for inspiring all of us with your passion. And also to Fumi from Pula, thank you for sharing your thoughts and thank you for sharing from your experience how innovation and technology is transforming agriculture already. And to you, Rufus, thank you again for providing more insight into the work that EFA is doing, not just around the world, but particularly in Nigeria. And thank you for the introduction of the AYuTe Challenge. We believe, like you, that it will indeed transform the agricultural sector. It will embrace and encourage young people to join in the fight against poverty and hunger, and it will put more money in the pockets of the smallholder farmers. So thank you again. Please let's put our hands together for them one more time. Okay, yeah. So quickly, we'll just take, before we move to the next segment, we'll just have a quick group photo here, yeah, of the panelists. Yes, and the IFA team will join after this photo shoot immediately.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I would like to recognize Dr. Charles Iyagbe, the Business Development Director for West Africa Heifer International. Please, we can join us on the stage. And Mr. Dayo Aduroja, Team Lead Youth and Innovation Heifer International. And Mr. Akiyomi Nikoro, Program Operations Lead Heifer International. One more person. Okay. And Mrs. or Mr. Mrs. Omo Ogodu. Oh, I'm so sorry. Apologies. Mr. Omo Ogudu. Okay, the executive assistant to the SVP, I guess. You're welcome, sir. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, thank you so much.
Let's move on quickly.
Okay. I hope we all enjoyed the panel discussion. So now we're moving to the next item on the list. That is the official launching of the dedicated AYuTe Nigerian Challenge portal. And to launch the portal, we are going to be, or I am going to be inviting the head of programs in Enactus Nigeria, Mr. Raphael Anagbe. Please let's put our hands together. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Good afternoon, everyone. As announced, I'm Raphael Anagbe and I work for Enactus Nigeria. And my duty here is to officially unveil the AYuTe Nigeria Challenge, our official application portal. And this is actually the peak of our engagement here today. So I'll be speaking directly to the screen as we're going to actually be navigating the website, the portal on live. Awesome. I think we should put our hands together. This is the official portal to the Heifer AYuTe Nigeria Challenge. And this is the URL that everybody that is going to be interested to participate in this will have to, use to access the portal to, navigate the information there. So at this point, When you click the URL, it takes you to the landing page and it talks basically about what the challenge is about. I don't need to speak to that. It has been sufficiently dealt with during the session. And at this point, we're going to go live and navigate what the portal really looks like. So yes, when you get to the landing page, you are able to find the eligibility criteria, which is actually the very most important item on the portal. And this determines whether you're eligible to, participate in the challenge or not. And it is basically categorized into two major sections in terms of the individual applicant and their company that they are going to be entering into the challenge. So basically, that's what the eligibility criteria really captures. And it takes you to how to apply. You're only able to even get to how to apply if through the eligibility criteria, you find yourself, worthy to be able to participate in this challenge. And how to apply, you have basically two major options. We have the web version of how you can apply and the app version. We actually created this way to make it very easy for every interested participant to be able to access that. And when you click either of the links for the web or app, it actually takes you directly to the application form. So I think we should just access the application form. So this is an alternative option if you're not able to go through the web or the app version. And the apply now icon is boldly on the portal, and when you click it, it takes you to the application form. Are we able to access the application form now? Great. The application form speaks specifically to the eligibility criteria. So we're not going to be going details to it, but yes, it has two segments. You have segment A and segment B. Segment A talks to the individual contestant or applicant, and segment B talks basically to the project or the innovation that is agricultural inclined that you are actually entering for the challenge. So that's basically what the form is all about. I think we should go now to the application process. So yes, the competition generally it's categorized into steps of 5. And steps 1 basically is a program launch, which is what is actually happening currently. Step 2 is the official call for application, which after this presentation, it will officially be open to interested contestants to apply. Then step 3 takes us to the screening exercise, which is subdivided into 3 levels. Step 4 talks about the mentorship, which is going to be virtual and in person. And step 5 is the grand finale, where you have the pitch and you have the awards and grants presentation. But I'm going to delve into step 3 to just talk about the sub-levels that defines what step 3 is really about. So level 1 is the collation of applications. So immediately this portal is open for applications. There's going to be opportunity for people who are interested to apply. And this will take from now, today being the official day, to the 16th of September, which applications are going to be closed. And after level 1, it takes us to level 2, basically, which is going to be the due diligence stage, where these applications are going to be reviewed. And when that happens, we'll move to level 3. At this level, with the work we have done with selecting applications that are successful from the first level and second level, this stage will allow for an integrated mentorship program, which is designed to help those contestants that are able to advance to this level to be able to be supported in terms of necessary business development and getting their businesses to that level where the program desires, so that at the end of the day, we're going to be able to bet very new and brand agricultural youth and technology innovations. So basically, this is just the application process in the 5 steps, and diving down into level step 3, which have sub levels. And the timeline to the applications overall captures the 5 steps. But for today, which is the official launching of the portal where the application is open to interested contestants, it opens 17 August 2002 and 22, but closes 16 September 2022. And these dates are sacrosanct. They are not going to be changed. So interested participants or contestants are advised to work within this time limit to ensure that they are part of this program. So this actually ends the official unveiling of the AYuTe Nigeria Challenge. And we encourage, most especially, most of our potential contestants that will be watching us virtually to take advantage of this opportunity and actually send in their applications. Thank you very much. And I said good afternoon once again. And I think at this point in time, I don't have my colleague Janice, but it takes us to the closing remark. And I think I will do justice to that by inviting. Okay, just a moment. Okay. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. Wow, so now the AYuTe Nigerian Challenge has been officially launched, and we believe that from today we will start receiving applications. Now, it's time to close the event. And before we close this event, I would like to invite Dr. Charles Iyagbe, the Business Development Director, West Africa, Heifer International, to deliver the closing remark. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Dr. Charles on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the Senior Vice President, Ms. Abisola Ifedi, who, for one reason or the other, she's not able to attend this event, I would like to express our gratitude to every one of us that are present here, especially the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, who has spoken very eloquently. I want to thank the media houses. I want to thank all participants, private sector actors, for joining us to officially launch this AYuTe Nigeria Challenge. And on behalf of the country director, I hereby declare this AYuTe Nigeria Challenge fund open. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Inyagbe. And now the event is officially closed. We all have to go outside and take pictures while the DJ will hit us with some music. Thank you. And then also, we're going to be having a media interview with Mr. Rufus. He's going to be having a media interview after the event, yes, sir. And then our special guests and our IFA executives. The AYuTe Nigerian Challenge has been officially launched, and we believe that from today we will start receiving applications. Now, it's time to close the event, and before we close this event, I would like to invite Dr. Charles Iyagbe, the Business Development Director, West Africa, Heifer International, to deliver the closing remark. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Dr. Charles on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf